Hey everyone, it's Tracy. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to share with you how to make some burlap flowers using burlap, Mod Podge, and my Cuttlebug and a couple of flower dies that I have. And I just have a few different flower shapes that I have here, and I'm going to show you how I created these using my die cuts. Okay, so what I have here is a piece of parchment paper. You can get that where the like aluminum foil and Ziploc bags and things are sold in the store. And I like to use this for my burlap. I just found that it doesn't stick to it, and I just like the way that it feels, and I just like the way that it is. Okay, so I use a lot of Mod Podge, so I buy the big old tub like this at either Walmart, or I get it at the craft store. Use my 40% off coupon. And let me give you a tip that, who was it? Lindsay from the Frugal Crafter had shared with her viewers. You know how the glue and the lids and stuff will stick? Well, she gave us this tip. If you get, let me grab it, a tube of chapstick, and I got this and I took the wrapper off and I wrote glue only so that I know, or my son knows not to like put it on his lips. Anyway, but she gave us this tip that if you run it around the edges of the opening, that it makes your opening so much better. And let me tell you, yes, it does. So anyway, there's a little tip for you if you didn't know that. Alright, so I have a few pieces of burlap, so I'm just going to start on this one, and just going to add some some Mod Podge onto the burlap. It doesn't really matter if I get all the way to the edges, because once I put it through my Cuttlebug with my die cut, it's not going to go all the way to the edge anyway, so I just need some, sporadic. That's what I'm doing, just as much as I can get on there, like that. And then what I like to do is pick it up, because it does, burlap does have the holes in it and it does go through. So I just kind of pick it up and reposition it, and it kind of helps it from, it doesn't really stick to the parchment paper, but it does, you can pry it apart, but it does kind of adhere to it. Okay, so then now I'm just putting some Mod Podge on the pink, and the Mod Podge is going to dry clear, so don't be alarmed that you see the white and you're like, oh my gosh, it's turning your pink burlap white, but it's really not. It is going to dry clear. Okay, so then I just pick it up, and you can see how all of the Mod Podge goes through there, and just kind of reposition it. That is just a tip that helps me come through, and I just want to do 3 different colors. These are just the colors that I had some scraps of that I wanted to show y'all for this purpose. And I'm just using a foam brush from the craft store. You can get these pretty reasonable. Okay, there we go. So what I'll do now is, you need to let these dry completely. Sometimes I'm a little impatient, so I'll put them in front of my fan or get my heat tool out and go to town and start drying them. Alrighty, I am back, and my burlap is all dry. I have my pink, my natural, and my white. And as you can see, the Mod Podge dries clear, and it just gives it a little stiffer feel to it, and it's going to be perfect to run it through my Cuttlebug, or you can run it through your Big Shot. I have not run it through my Cricut yet, so that might be something that I do try to do. But if you have done that, please leave us a comment in the comments below and let us know how that worked out for you, because I love to learn new tricks. I just have one done with the Mod Podge, and this one was not, and as you can see, it's really flimsy, just like burlap is, and this one is very formed, and it's going to run through my Cuttlebug nicely. The flower dies that I currently have in my stash this is by Sizzix, and it's the Flower Layers number 3, and that's what I have, and it has these flowers on it. And then these are like Cuttlebug dies that I've had for many, many years. I don't know if you can still buy them, but they're the little metal dies, and I just keep them like this in these little plastic pouches, because that helps me see what I have. So I'm just going to put my Cuttlebug here, and I'm going to do the Sizzix first. Set that to the side. And I'm just using my pink burlap, and I'm just going to put that on one of the B plates. I'm using 2 B plates, and then I'm going to put my flower die on top of that, and then put another B plate on top of that, and then I'm just going to run it through my Cuttlebug. It's supposed to go tightly through, because you know that that's giving you a good indentation. And then as you see, it makes the little flower die cuts. I have the pink, and this flower just cuts out the little centers, but I just put those in my stash to use for later. So let me show you. Here are all the 3 flowers from the pink. And then I won't get rid of this. I'll put this to the side, because some of these smaller dies that I have, I will just use it for pieces of it. Let me put that over here. So then let me show you my smaller dies. Well, actually, I can show you what I've done. And sometimes it takes a little while, because, you know, I'm just fiddling with it and having fun with it. So these little dies, because of the square, sometimes I just do it one at a time, just like that. Let's see, this one isn't quite as thick, so I'm going to have to use my A plate. And you can tell the difference between your plates, because it has the letters on there. My A plate. Put this down. Let me get another one. Put that on there. Put my B plate on top of that. And it should snugly go through that. You can kind of feel when you go through the Cuttlebug, you can kind of feel the tightness of it, and that's good. You don't want it to go where it's going to crack through, because then it might break your machine. And I've done that. This is my second Cuttlebug that I've had. So as you can see, here's my pink, and I still have some more where I can get another flower in there. And so sometimes I'll turn it over, and you can kind of see where the flower, the little die is going to come through the fabric. So I just make sure all of that is covered. Turn around this way. And then that's why I like these little Cuttlebug dies. And y'all, I just tell you this because I like to use these products. No one's paying me to tell you this. I just like it because these are just the products that I've used. And so before you know it, you have a huge collection of burlap flower embellishments that you can use on card. Oops, what am I doing, Tracy? Silly, silly. Put my A plate, put that back down. And then my B, my fabric, my dies. Put this gently on top of it. Moving that little die out of the way so that it goes through the Cuttlebug. Feeding that through. You can kind of feel it go through. And if you're a Cuttlebug user, if you're new to the Cuttlebug, you'll kind of get the feeling of what I'm saying. And so then there I have more little flowers. I would probably stop with this, but it just really depends how much you want to get out of it. And that's why I kind of cut my pieces of burlap to fit through my Cuttlebug. If you have a big shot, you can make your burlap pieces a little bit bigger. But there's the tip for that. Alright, I've decided I want to show you how to do the white one, or just give you the idea. And so I just have my piece of burlap. So that's why it's good if you have some scraps. You can just put those to the side, and then whenever you have a chance and you want to make a whole bunch of these, you can go through. You can, if you don't care about wasting your burlap, you can kind of like put your die cuts all on there and run it through at one time if you want to save time. But if you're like me and you're like, you know, I've done wasted all of this time and I want my burlap to go as far as it will go, I will run it through several times. Run this through. And then here's my white, my little white flowers. And then I will go back and do it again, and therefore my little die can overlap a portion of the burlap that it couldn't do a while ago. So like I said, these little flowers can take you as much time or as little time as you would like. So I think you guys get the idea. I'm going to show you a project that I did for them, and at the end of the video. Thanks for watching.